Being around large groups of people for the first time in over a year has made me realize that I've been way too concerned about the way that I'm being perceived. I thought I was over this. The caring about what people think of me, but I guess learning not to care about what people think of you doesn't really work out that well when you're isolated in your house in the middle of an apocalypse. Who knew it would be this difficult to learn how to exist as a human being again amongst other human beings? I did. I knew this, and I still expected myself to be weirdly good at it, even though I wasn't good at it before the pandemic started. Okay, Wind, live your best life. I couldn't even film myself in my own flat because I was too worried about any misconstrued opinions people might have about the weird new person at their school who sits in their room filming themselves talking to a camera and then makes a conscious decision to upload it to the internet. Ironically, the people that I would now consider my friends have already told me that they've watched my videos and even encouraged me to bring my camera to school to film, so I guess I've been proven wrong in that regard. Despite this, I'm still way too good at being alone, even if being alone isn't what I really want, and I'm still way too good at being scared of everything and letting that fear be the driving force of my life. As cheesy as it sounds, I know that I'm not responsible for the version of me people decide to create in their head, but knowing this doesn't always erase the story where I let the chokehold, that fear and anxiety and everything else wrong with me, paralyze me, and I'm left sitting by myself ruminating in thoughts and feelings that are only going to spiral me further into a place that I don't want to be in. Something needs to happen. That story needs to change, and shockingly, I have to be the one to change it. As my father likes to say, I am a walking contradiction. You might even say that Ify is iffy about everything. Moving on. Sometimes what I say or feel and what I do are on two completely different spectrums. An example of this is that I am not comfortable with receiving attention, but despite myself, a lot of the things that I do put me in a position where I end up receiving this attention anyways. It also doesn't help that I am a Leo. If you couldn't already tell, I like to make videos. I find immense joy in filming parts of my life, editing it on my little computer, and then uploading it to the internet. But when I finally got the chance to move to London, when I finally got the opportunity to live out Ify's middle school dream, I found myself flooded with all sorts of self-sabotaging thoughts and anxieties that led me to do what exactly? Absolutely nothing. I'd wake up in the morning with fully intending on filming my day, but once I walked into the school building, it was as if that intention had never existed. 3 months had gone by like this, and by some miracle, I managed to get enough footage to put together a 3-minute video, but that wasn't enough for me. I was disappointed in myself, but also not surprised at my outcome. So despite every little neurological pathway in my brain leading me to know, Ify, don't do this, people are going to think things about you, I finally decided that I would actually try to film something at school.
What's you filming?
And then I did it again. And again. And you get the gist. People are unpredictable. They have judgments, they have opinions, they have prejudices, and I don't want to be subject to any of them. In short, I don't want to be perceived. But in all honesty, despite this, I'd like to believe that I'd rather show up 100% myself and weed out the people that I'm not good for than water myself down and make myself digestible for people who don't need to be in my life. It took me a very long time to learn this, and I'm definitely still learning how to apply this to my everyday experiences, but I shouldn't have to worry about being too much of one thing for some people and too little of another for others. I'm coming to realize that I am the right amount of iffy for the right people. Talking to people and making friends has never been an easy task for me, hence the reason I'm sitting here talking to a camera. And while I'm still learning my energetic limits in terms of socializing with other people because introvert problems, I don't want that to be the narrative for the rest of my life. I've managed to actually make friends, or rather I should say that people have managed to make me their friend. I have conversations with them.
Hi YouTube!
They invite me to places. Even if 99% of the time I bluff out of going, they make me laugh.
Yeah.
And they are just really fantastic people to be around, and I'm very grateful to be able to call them my friends. Wow, what a discovery! Evie and other people can coexist. She won't spontaneously combust every time she decides to take up space in another person's life. Not everyone hates her for just existing. This is mind-blowing. This is what the world should be talking about. Not trivial things like racism, the housing crisis, global warming, world hunger, the pandemic, and everything else wrong with the world. When I was in middle and high school, I used to always say that I didn't like people, that they were the bane of my existence, and that I wish everyone would leave me alone. But I think that's just normal amongst angsty teenagers, because I was definitely one of those. But the older I've gotten and the more that I learn about myself, the more I've come to realize how important it is for me to have good people in my life, and how the views that I had about people were just instances of transference of trauma, and how what's actually embedded deep inside of me is less of a disdain for all human beings and more of a fear of the pain that they could cause me. People aren't always bad. It was me that was making it so. I still get nervous around my friends. I still avoid strangers like the plague. I still bluff out of going to many social events. I'm sorry, Esme and Ruby. I promise one day I'll go to heaven. My anxiety hasn't disappeared. I don't know if it ever will. I don't even think it's necessarily gotten smaller. I guess I'm just growing around it. Learning how to exist as a human being again when you never really felt like one in the first place sounds fun and all, but so does laying in bed binge watching a bunch of anime that Mags wishes she gatekept from me. Seriously though, I have a whole life to live. I have a whole lot more to learn. I have so many more people to meet and to learn to love, and I can't exactly jump back into my mother's womb and hide there, so I guess I'll just have to see it through. Thank you for bearing with this very self-important monologue. I'm sending you love. Stay safe. Maybe I'll see you later.